Hello and welcome to World Talks with me, Ashim Kumar. Latvia is facing a major cybersecurity crisis after hackers accessed personal data belonging to more than 1.2 million people through a state road traffic agency. The breach has triggered resignations, national security concerns, and questions over possible hybrid warfare. Joining us is Darius Jurgelevičius, former Deputy Foreign Minister of Lithuania. Welcome back to TVP World, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Ashim. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, Darius. Now, we'll kick off with a short soundbite, and then I'll get your view on it. It's from the Latvian Prime Minister and some other members, representatives of the government.
This could therefore potentially be classified as an attack on our country's critical infrastructure and on state-held data. If this was a commercially motivated attack, the data will most likely simply be sold on the dark web. If it was geopolitically motivated, then we have to assume that this information is available to the services of the state behind the attack for potential use. The question is how valuable or interesting that information is to them. The people who should be particularly cautious are those who are politically significant or hold senior positions in state institutions or major companies.
Okay, so let's start with some basic details. What type of data has been stolen?
As far as I know, this data has been registered with the state agency for traffic control or something like that. I don't remember exactly the title of that institution. But I guess that is data that every driver has to register with this institution. So this data is about every single Latvian citizen that has a right to drive a vehicle. So it looks like if that is the case, which we're referring to in this story, that data has been shared with third party, and that is a clear hybrid attack.
Okay, now it's a hybrid attack. In that statement, there is the assumption that it's part of a much broader attack on Latvia. Who do you think's behind it?
I must admit that I really followed last statement by Latvian President Edgars Rinkēvičs, who said that we should not really try to hide and look at this event as already a full-scale hybrid warfare with Russia. So I guess he refers most likely also into that case. So in simple words, I guess if someone is really interested in gathering that information, it's only one country, that should be Russia. Otherwise, I don't see any use for that information as of in case that could be sold in the dark market, but I guess in the black market or darknet, but that I guess shouldn't be considered as a serious source of threat. I see it as a Russian attack.
Okay, now this isn't the first time that Latvia has been attacked in this way. There's a state-owned forestry organization which face the same. Now, it sounds as though this is a coherent attack on Latvia and probably other countries, the Baltic states and the Nordic states generally, from Russia, using cyber techniques. Now, which part of the cyber warfare, assuming that that's what this is, does this satisfy? What is Russia going to do with this?
I guess we should really look at this as the testing ground for our ability to protect ourselves in that sense. So we shouldn't be kind of taking it as the one accident. I would say that it's a systemic approach from Russian side, trying to find those weak spots in cybersecurity, let's say in this case in Latvia, Estonia, or Lithuania, I guess also in Poland, and identify where they can really penetrate our infrastructure, get information that could be useful for them in planning further attacks. But as to look at this in overall, I guess this is one of those tricks or warfare elements that Russia uses just to show and to test our ability to protect ourselves and to show that we are still not ready to fight against those threats that Russia poses in this new kind of war, which is as we call it, hybrid warfare.
Right. How well do you think we are doing in terms of protecting ourselves? You say we're not ready yet, and that's quite obvious, not only in Latvia, but in other countries in the EU and in NATO generally. But, why aren't we ready? This is not new. Russia's been doing this to the West for years, 4 years, 5 years, if not much longer. What's holding us back?
Ashim, I guess we should really look back not only 4 years from the beginning of full-scale invasion in Ukraine. I guess we were in a position already feel that Russia was closely watching our infrastructure and trying just to find those soft spots where it could penetrate and put us in a difficult situation. I guess we were most likely too naive to think that Russia, after the annexation of Crimea, will be sitting and waiting for us somewhere just to fail. So I don't know how to explain and what kind of argument to find to justify our unreadiness to counterattack those threats. But sometimes I feel that we're most likely missing a strong political will just to address those issues, but address those issues not only in verbal form, but in form of actions. Because, we've been issuing almost daily statements about condemning Russia for one or another breach of international law, that Russia is the country that poses a threat to European Union and NATO. But when it comes to practical things, I guess we are lacking so behind that all those accidents that we're just facing in Latvia prove the case.
Right. Well, you mentioned NATO, and of course that's a critical element in this picture because it is, after all, an attack on a NATO member. Surely NATO has a joint responsibility to respond in some way, and OK, it may not be kinetic, but at the moment it seems like it's completely passive, apart from issuing harsh statements which aren't working, making no difference at all. Should NATO be taking a bigger role in producing a coherent response?
Yes, I guess we should not forget that NATO has cybersecurity center, which is located in Lithuania. But when it comes to, again, to practical things, how we can really protect our critical infrastructure, we see that we are still not doing enough. I don't know what should be done by Russia that finally we all could come together and using this kind of understanding of common security, decide and do practical steps, take practical steps to ensure that Russia won't be able to penetrate us in a way that it's able to do it now. So I guess it's time again, and I guess we remember that we discussed it about it in previous our interviews, that words are words, words are words, and practical things still kind of not coming into place.
Right. Well, Russia seems to be quite expert at provoking NATO countries, knowing that it doesn't quite reach the standard of triggering Article 5, and there's quite a long way for it to go. What about in terms of defence? Is there more we can do? For example, in terms of training our people, because this breach seems to have been the result of an oversight, a breach of security protocols, which left a door open for the hackers to get in. Should we be doing better at protecting ourselves as well as preparing some kind of offensive response?
Offensive response, I guess we already discussed it. I don't think that we should really refrain ourselves from trying to attack Russian infrastructure as they're doing it with our infrastructure. That would be kind of sign that we are not going just to passively looking and waiting until another attack will come. We should really respond them in a very mild, firstly way, saying, listen, guys, if you are doing for us this, we also have an instrument, or maybe instruments to penetrate your structures as well. So it should be, in my understanding, it should be tit for tat kind of game. Now we are still looking, waiting, most likely in a way getting prepared, but when it comes to practical things, as we see, not much we have done yet.
Okay, so where do we go to from here? Is there more? I mean, we're talking about NATO's eastern flank still. So, is there perhaps a greater cohesion that can be formed across the countries that form NATO's eastern flank? So, should Latvia be doing more with other Baltic states, with the Nordics, with Poland, Hungary, and so on, than it is at the moment on the cyber security front?
I guess we should really look at this from bigger picture. I don't really want for NATO security, when it comes even for cybersecurity, to be kind of fragmented into a kind of regions. Even Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Poland belongs to that eastern flank. None of any other NATO country should be kind of not part of this security arrangement. And it's very important to understand that if Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, or Poland will be penetrated by Russian hackers, so that Spain, Portugal, or France could be immune from that kind of attack as well. So we should really look at this from the much kind of global picture. We should get to a kind of sense that security is indispensable, and we all should feel responsibility protecting Lithuanian, Latvian, or in other words, eastern flanks security, cybersecurity, as much as cybersecurity of any other NATO member state.
Indeed, cybersecurity does not respect borders. Darius Jurgelevičius, yes, thank you very much, as always, for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening, you too. Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, lots more coming up. Goodbye.